Queen, some people's greatest problem in life is that their personal life is so blended with their professional life, they don't know where one boundary ends and the other begins. Because the thing about it is, a coworker is not necessarily a friend. And yet, because people tend to not filter what they share on the front end, they share things on the front end that gets them burned on the back end. So if you ever found yourself wondering why the people you call friend keep burning you, let's talk the cost of sharing with the wrong person. Now, before we do so, I need to share this with you, and it may be uncomfortable for you to hear, but I need you to hear it with an open mind. Sometimes the reason we attract the type of people we do is because we may not recognize it, but we are that person. So now let me share with you the five types of people you may be attracting that keep burning you. And these are five types of gossipers. So the first type of gossiper is this one, the initiator. This is the one who gets the conversation started. They come to you with the tea. They seem to always have and know the tea about this one, that one, and the other one too. They just stay in the know. So they have information to bring. And that's how they tend to get conversation started. And then the next thing you know, you are locked in and dialed in, listening, and often you are likely responding. So you are conversating with them, not recognizing, just like they brought you the tea about somebody else, they'll go share the tea that they got from you with somebody else. The second type of gossiper that may be burning you that you are calling a friend is this one, the listener. You see, unlike the initiator, the listener, they don't tend to initiate conversation. No, they don't get the party started, but they will give you a listening ear. And so I heard it said like this once in a song, everybody don't come to listen. Not really. They just want to know your business. And so we can find ourselves blindsided by the listener because we're thinking that this person is so kind, they're so pleasant, they're so understanding because they just always seem to be ready and able to listen. But they're not listening for the reason you think that they are listening. And so, because you're blindsided to that, they're able to take in everything you share with them, and then they can go and share that with other people. Then there is the third type of gossiper, extractors. I call these extractors because they don't just take in the information, they get out information. And they do it in such a way that you may not even realize that they are extracting information out of you that you really initially did not intend to share. They what the songwriter called smooth operators. I mean, they just show up and, so to speak, pickpocket you. They pickpocket you to share and give them gossip. Well, I shouldn't say gossip, but that's what it ends up being because you're sharing your business and then your business ends up being gossip because they just extracted it out of you and they did so for their own gain, their own benefit, but you just didn't know it. And then there is the fourth type of gossiper that will burn you. This one I call the amplifier. And I call them the amplifier because not only do they get information, meaning they show up like a friend, which they truly are not, after they get the information, they don't just share the information. They don't just gossip about it with somebody else. No, not these. They pour gas on the flame, meaning they saw a fire and they just decided to make that fire even bigger and worser. I don't know if that's a word, but we using it today. Worse than what it was. And they don't care that you are going to be hurt, that you are going to be damaged, that you are going to be feeling betrayed because of their actions. They do not care about it. All they care about is adding to what's already a bad situation. You know that phrase that says misery loves company? Yeah, that's them. And so they, like I said, they make situations worse because they take things, information that you shared, and then they bring it into places and spaces where it doesn't need to be, where it already may be, because you may be sharing with more than one person you think is your friend, and they just make it worse. And then there is the last type of gossiper. Yeah, and I must admit, I used to be this one. I used to be this one. And you saying, really, not you? Yes, me. It was me. It was me. And this type of gossiper is the unintentional one. Yeah. I know you may be saying, Yeah, unintentional gossipers do exist because they don't realize that's what they are. Yeah. And the reason they don't realize it is because they don't initiate conversation. And although they find themselves listening to conversation, they're not listening for malicious intent. And so they don't have the mindset, or they're not typically operating from the mindset that they want to take this and go and share it like the amplifiers to make a bad situation worse, or to use it for extraction purposes. So they are unintentionally unaware that they are a gossiper. And I'm going to use an example from my own life because, like I said, this one used to be me. I ran across a young lady during my collegiate years, and she seemed real nice. And that's why I tell you about gossipers. They can fool you. And I'm thinking she just wants to be helpful because she's asking me about clothes and if I need some clothes. And I'm like, no, I don't need any clothes. I'm good. But I tell you about gossipers because sometimes they go the extra mile. Now, this young lady, mind you, I don't know her, and I told her I did not need any clothes. She comes to where I am the next day, and she brings clothes anyway. And I'm thinking, this is different. I mean, she really, is going out on a limb here. I told her I did not need the clothes. Long story short, what I found out on the back end was that there was just a ploy to get me to trust her, like her, and talk to her. Because she had heard a rumor about me, and she wanted to know, is the rumor true? And so she stayed around parading as though she was this kind, helpful, nice person, which she may have been. But in this case, for what she did to me, it was to get information. But instead of being able to get the information she was looking for, because it wasn't there for her to extract, she found herself really liking me and wanting to be my friend. And that's when she told me, the things that people say about you aren't true. But I didn't know it until I started talking to you and truly getting to know you. Now, mind you, I didn't like hearing that, but I was glad she shared that with me. Because what it let me know is that she really came into my life as these gossipers. And for her purposes, because she wasn't able to get the information she was looking for, she could have fell in a number of different type of gossipers that I just shared with you. But how I became an unintentional gossiper is when I started just listening to her speak and share, and she just kept coming back and coming back and coming back and sharing with me everything that was being shared from other people. And she said to me one day, she said, you always be listening to what I have to say. And I realized at that point, she's right. I do always listen to what she has to say. Because she identified herself. I didn't identify her as that. But what she said is, I'm messy. And I told her, yeah, you are. And she started laughing. And then that's when she told me, she said, but you be listening to me though. And that was the point where I said, I need to make a change. And I did. And so I shared that with you because when I started not responding back, when I chose to minimize and shift the conversation, she had less and less to say. And eventually she stopped coming around. And so I shared that with you because, as I've shared with you before, you take you everywhere you go in life, love, and business. So truly think about if those types of people show up in your life. Do you have initiators? Do you have listeners? Do you have extractors? Do you have amplifiers? Do you have the seemingly nice but unintentional gossiper in your life? Because if you do, and you're in relationship with them, remember, it takes two. And that means that you are going to pay the cost. And the cost with all of these gossipers are three things. You have the potential for them to backstab you. You have the cost of them potentially hurting you, whether it be intentionally hurting you or indirectly hurting you, and you likely are going to pay the cost of them blindsiding you. And why? Because gossiping is toxic behavior. And whether or not these people realize it, they are engaged or engaging in this toxic behavior. So something bad is likely to happen. It's just a matter of when and how bad you're going to be burned because of it. So the solution for you is to evaluate. Do you show up like this? Meaning as one of these 5 types of gossipers. Because if you do, then the best thing you can do is to start with making a shift in you. If you're uncertain, ask people who you trust to share with you the truth about you. Give them the space to share the truth with you without you getting upset, frustrated, or wanting to defend yourself. And if it comes out that, yeah, you were one of the 5, then I want you to decide what can you do, what first step can you take and make in that moment to shift the way you show up so that you show up as a better, improved version of you. Because I've said it before and I share it again. We must recognize that in every relationship, the person that shows up is you. And if you have a pattern of being burned by people, especially gossipers, there is a point in which your refusal to assess you and what you need to do to break the cycle is the issue. As always, I'm Coach Sam telling you that 24 hours doesn't seem long, but in 24 hours, you can change your life. So go ahead and do something life changing now.